Woo! What's going on, guys? What's going on? Today we're going to be talking about Starfield. Starfield is one of those iconic games that came out this year that has had a lot of back and forth with the gaming community, the gaming industry in general. You know, I would say it has definitely been one of those rock down the mountain moments that you don't know how much momentum it's getting until it already has it. Look, I will come out openly before we get into the basis of this video and say, I love Starfield. Starfield's a fantastic game, but I can understand why there's a lot of people that's just not feeling the game. You know, Steam. No one should be a stranger to Steam. Steam is a huge entity on PC. It's on the PC market. And they got their own review system on Steam. And pretty much, you know, you either rate it a positive or a negative, and then they kind of like balance it out where you want to, if you want to invest into that game. And right now, with 7,426 reviews on Steam, Starfield is mostly negative. Now, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over some of the reviews. You know, I don't know if I'm going to read a bunch of them, but what I will do is just go over some of the reviews I see right off the bat. You know, I do feel like some of these people are, I don't understand the mindset behind it, but we'll get into that, you know, in the near future. You know, when it comes to me, Starfield, its biggest issues that I feel like would miss a lot of points is stuff that Bethesda chose to do. You know, the tutorial. As much as I was able to grab on and learn these skills and learn these gameplay mechanics, I do understand where if I'm having to explain to multiple people how to dock on ships, then maybe Bethesda should have did a better job explaining it to everyone else. I couldn't imagine what it was like, and I know a couple people that struggled for a while before they found it out. I couldn't imagine what it's like to do that to a point where you just quit the game. And I'm assuming there are people that did that. You know, there's no reason why there's no maps on cities. You can't find shops very well. There is a lot of issues that Starfield has, but mostly negative. I don't know about that. You know, Bethesda has definitely been one of those icons in gaming for a long time. And I would say that because Starfield is more in the middle in terms of what they usually produce, it is easier to attack this game. Another big issue that I going to see before I even go into these reviews is the way they built the PC version, especially the Steam version, where it's, you know, to me, it felt like Bethesda had a huge relationship with AMD. And for those of you that don't keep track of the PC market, I would say, and this is just my opinion, maybe someone could put it in the comment section below and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like AMD isn't in any way, shape, or form the market leader when it comes to GPU cards. You know, I feel like there's going to be way more people with NVIDIA cards, and it's one thing to, you know, prioritize one. It's another thing to have a partnership where it seems like you're pushing one over the other, especially when you're pushing not the market leader, because then the majority of the people that's going to be playing your game are going to have the NVIDIA. Then you got like Todd Howard coming out and saying our game is just very, you know, very taxing and maybe you should upgrade your PC. And I'm not saying that he's probably not wrong on that. There are probably people on here that could have probably just upgraded their PC. But to me, when you're looking at aspects like that and the amount of settings that Starfield lacked to have in the PC market that they're used to, I can understand why a lot of the PC market would find this game mostly negative. You know, but like I said, we're going to go into it, man, because there is one key aspect to this Starfield review thing that just like blows my mind. And maybe it's just me, you know, maybe it's me, but let's pop over here. All right. So as you can see, this is the review site, man. You know, we're going to go over exactly some of these reviews. I'm kind of curious to see what these people are rating stuff. So let's look over here. All right. So we got a not recommended 41 hours and 8 minutes, or maybe 80, I don't know. Starfield is a game that has an excessive of nothingness, an open world RPG that is overstuffed with meaningless content that seems that's starting to split and the empty calories are spilling out. Starfield is big, both requires 125 gigs to install, but also in activities. Planets, city, missions, NPCs, combat, research, space travel, space combat, space research, ship battle, base building, relationship building, main story, side missions, factions, and all of this beautifully grand scheme, action-packed, and ultimately unfulfilling. A tremendous lack of focus on each of these individual parts of the game hollow. In the modern, glittering area of entertainment, Starfield is another speck of shine, so concerned with blast media appeal because its individual gameplay mechanics and entities the space we're flying through. I'm gonna give this dude, this is genuine. I do feel where he's coming from this. I do feel like Starfield tried to make more expansive of their world and not necessarily focus on, individual things. A good example I would be is the Outer Worlds. They chose to focus on a few select planets and go along with that. And I think that's pretty much what this individual is saying. It's like you wanted to be this massive, expanding, easy to sell to the audiences, easy to market, but when you actually play the game, it's missing in a lot of aspects. And I think 41 hours is enough time where I would consider dropping. I probably would have dropped it before then. Me particularly, when I go into a game, if I don't like your game, I'm dropping it within 10 hours. And that's pushing it. If it's not grabbing me at all, I'm dropping your game in 10 hours. And like I said, and we ain't even getting to 10 hours. So we got a crazy one over here. Let me push this over. First off, I don't even really have to look too much into this. How do you put 1,000 hours into a game and not recommend it? The most annoying part of playing the game is the amount of crashes. It was fine for a while, then it crashes. Started recently. It is bad enough that it started while in a fight or just trying to walk into a room. I have quite a bit of knowledge of how to tweak my system and have no problem hacking settings, but this is ridiculous. I'm a fan of Fallout 4. Like, I can unwind and roam around. This game, not so much. The shipbuilding is a neat idea. Resources like iron are always a grind to get so little reward. Good thing there is a shortage of bad guys. There is no shortage of bad guys. So pretty much, I do think this comment is genuine because I do recommend some of the things he said. But to me, maybe you guys can tell, how do you put 1,000 hours into something and found so much enjoyment to continue playing, and then you ended up saying it was a bad game? To me, that don't make sense. I understand where points he's coming from, but to me, if you put 1,000 plus hours into a game, at that point, how can I take your opinion very seriously? So let's go into another person. We got 135 hours, and this person did not recommend Starfield. Once again, how do you put over 100 hours into a game and not recommend it? Like, we're not talking about someone that just played it for like the 2 hours and then dropped it. How do you put over 100 hours into a game and just say I didn't enjoy it? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Do you guys, and keep in mind, I want your guys' opinion. Do you guys put this amount of hours into a game and then just drop it? Or do you drop it early on to see if after you've seen you don't like it, then you drop it? To me, I don't think you need to review a game. I don't think you need to complete a game to review it if you give it a good review. I also think you can review a game if you haven't beat it, but your review has to be why that game wasn't good enough for you to finish. And to me, 135 hours and he's still playing the game. It's just like this dude with 1,000. I get, maybe that's just me. We've been hearing for years that Starfield is Bethesda's passion project. I don't think they've ever, maybe I'm thinking, a different aspect of passion project. Okay. A game that's been waiting to make even before Morrowind came out. If this game is Bethesda's passion project, then they've lost their passion. Oh, Man, this dude wrote a Bible. You know, we'll read like a story or two. Plenty of reviews are dragging Starfield for its technical issues. While it's true that the Bethesda game does not get a free pass on the stuff just because they're Bethesda, I am prepared to accept a certain level of jank. It is experiencing an inspired world when it nearly kills the game in the settings itself. Okay, so this is about that. For our major pet, we have a vaguely Western flavored federal government, a vaguely Texan flavored frontier allies, and a vaguely Eastern flavored corporate crazy. Some scraps pirates and some mysterious religious zealots. This is nothing meaningless. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of aspects to all those. That he named like 5-6 factions. Now, if he would have went into more detail of why he didn't like the factions, then I could have really, really vibed on that. Maybe he does. I don't know. If you have an ounce of creativity, the pictures in your head are probably more detailed and compelling than the crap that made into the game. It almost seems like the factions that have been consistently sanitized, as if someone went through the first draft and removed any cultural or aesthetic identifications beyond the baseline of, hey, this frontier guy wears a cowboy hat. Okay, I can give him on that. Here's my thing when it comes to this. I just find it hard to believe that these people are putting hundreds of hours into a game and not liking it. I think these people are just putting a bunch of hours into a game and they see the amount of, energy that this game's getting when it's negative, and they just jump on it. I think they're going more off of what the industry and the community is saying about the game, and not necessarily their points and their opinions. Because to me, you put over 100 hours in a game, you liked it to some degree, or you just kept playing it and didn't like it. It's kind of crazy. Reviews should have more context. This dude did a pretty decent job, though. I just don't have time to read through all these. 7.6 hours. Now, I'm not going to read this one, but this is around where I would have dropped it if I didn't like it. So, I feel like these reviews are more valid than people who put 100+ hours. How many Harry Potter movies can you watch for that? Like a ridiculous amount. And that's just like my biggest thing when it comes to these reviews is I don't understand how you put 200 hours, 130, 73. That's still a little too high for me. 53, 203. Like these people are putting enough hours to beat multiple games, like front to back. And that's the biggest thing I don't get about this Starfield thing. 26 hours, that's fair. 581 hours. These people are recommending it though, and it's like we look at the perspective of what's been going on with this, and that's why like 133 hours, 75 hours. Like this is like a God of War Ragnarok. Like completing it 100%. Maybe it takes a little bit more hours, but you guys get what I'm saying. 20 hours is pretty recommended. I can understand that. Almost 100 hours, 93 hours, 53 hours, 29 hours, 53 hours, 70, 41, 256 hours, 104 hours, 135 hours, 138 hours, 134 hours, 100 hours, 259 hours, 56 hours, 31 hours, 84 hours, 96 hours, almost 100 right there. 40 hours. Like, look, there's very few on here that's less than 10 hours. 77, 151, 231 hours, 134 hours, 192 hours. Look, we ain't gonna go into that. That's my biggest point of this video. How do you put so much time into a game and then say you didn't like it? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a me issue. Maybe I don't want to torture myself to that degree. If I'm not feeling your game, I would just drop it. Very few times if I push myself beyond that time where I'm just not enjoying it. To me, and when you read some of these comments, like some of them might make sense. And I would say if you go and read a lot of these high-houred comments, that a lot of them are very detailed, but to me, they're so you played enough of this game to where you could have literally beat dozens of other games. And then you come out and say it's not a good game. Like, look, you can have your your nitpicks and stuff you didn't like about the game. But to me, none of that shit that I just read or any of these on here stopped you from putting 200 to 300 hours into the game. That's crazy though. But again, you guys, that's the video today. You know, I wanted to go over, you know, this whole Steam thing. First off, like I said, I do think there are genuine reasons why every one of these people rated Starfield the way it is. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that just jump on the bandwagon. There's going to be a lot of fanboys from other platforms that intentionally buy it just to refund it. You know, that's going to happen with anything. In such a big game like Starfield, they're going to take advantage of that. But when you sit there and you look at these reviews, I just want to know, maybe it's you guys, how do you put so many hours into a game and not like it? That's just my key point. But I understand a lot of their dilemmas. I do. I understand a lot of their dilemmas. But I'm sitting here and like every other, you know, not recommended reviews over 100 hours. Like that is unheard of. I'm willing to bet you that the majority of time when you see these amount of hours into a game, I'm a huge fan of Destiny. I love Destiny, but I don't understand when people say Destiny's a bad game. You look how many hours they have, it's like 500 plus. It was a good game for that 500 hours. Like, I don't think people really understand how much hours that is playing a game you can't stand, that you won't recommend. And I think that's my biggest point. But when you put in the comment section below what you guys feel, you know, this is more of a rant video than anything, but I appreciate everyone for coming through here. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. 500 hours. The dude had 1,000, guys. How?